This place represents a stake in the ground, so to speak. At one point in time, we had drug dealers running rampant right on this corner here, and we had a very creative idea. We didn't have wireless everywhere, so this place had the computers, and you could come in and do your laundry, be safe, productive. A lot of people came here because they liked the atmosphere, and it was wholesome. We never made any money, by the way. Did I mention that? We never made any money. But I was using my construction-related resources, similar to the way Jeff and them are doing stuff right now.
There would be no Raymore Construction without a James Posey and a Workhorse Construction, because that paved the way for not just our company, for a lot of other minority companies. Tireless work that he did with TriMet, with the city, the sheltered market programs, all these different things. Posey, as an entrepreneur, took me under his wing, and that's actually how I got into heavy civil construction. From there, I realized the opportunities that construction gave in terms of entrepreneurship and workforce opportunities to people of color. James is a pioneer in our community. He formed the Northeast Trucking Consortium, 15 minority truckers that was able to band together and win a big scope of work, the Interstate Max project. I can't tell you the times that me and James have, been completely at odds with each other because he didn't like an approach or the way that I was going, and boy, did he come and let me know he didn't. Those are the things that we need. We need to hold each other accountable to be able to work for the common good of the people.
The military was a pathway out of the ghetto. Disproportionately, African Americans put themselves in danger in order to have that opportunity. But that being said, there was a lot of benefit. You can get no better training free. While I was in Vietnam and they were shooting rockets over, I was doing correspondence course. You could come out and work on your master's degree, which I did. We could learn a lot from the military's willingness to provide incentives, the methodologies they use to train and develop people. I think of the struggle for equity as combat. White supremacist notions exist in our society. You can look at voter rights, who pays for these politicians and what their influences are on our society. Anticipate what the next offensive is. You have to put that in your mindset. When we start talking about the construction industry and who has the resources, that's why you have to put organizational systems in place like NAMAC.
He reminds me a lot of my grandfather, who was military, where you had to work in a team, bring others along, trust the folks that you were working with, discipline, work ethic, heart, passion. He always likes to press you to do more and to think bigger and to think broader. NAMAC nationally was stood up during the civil rights movement in Oakland, California. And this was really a revolt to some of the oppressive nature of working in union trades. James Posey started the Oregon chapter here in 1997 to stand up the narrative of businesses of color that, for whatever reasons, tend to not get opportunities on public and private projects in a fair and equitable way. Our businesses that literally were one truck. What James has been able to do over 5 decades is empower them to now being 60, 70, 80 million plus a year. The sacrifices James has made in our community stands out.
He was never able to really build his business out because he was so minded on, for lack of a better word, ministering to his people and creating opportunities for his people. The fathers is the ones that dream the dreams. They're the ones that have the vision. But it's the young men that actually go and have to execute on that and to be overcomers. And I think James always understood that. He always understood the importance of youth and giving us opportunities to be able to grow and learn. There's a lot of people that had to go through a lot of things to be able to survive through Jim Crow, through segregation, through all the oppressive systems and policies. It's nothing like the time we stand in now to where equity's in the forefront, social and economic justice in the forefront.
I could well against, some of the things that have happened to me from a racist standpoint, but at the end of the day, Black people in America, we can take the chains off our ankles ourselves, physically, literally, and psychologically. And the psychological piece is the one that we really got to work on.
I think I got on the NAACP because James Posey talked to me. He was the economic development chair. And I came in as the education chair because that's what I do. So I left the NAACP. I kept thinking, like, I can't do this anymore, right? None of these issues are changing. As a matter of fact, they're getting worse because there's so few of us. We're always working on our one little piece. We don't put the whole puzzle together. It was James again that came to me and said, Noni, we got to find a new leader. Let's get strategic and let's find somebody that can rebuild our community and that can help fight for Black folks. I know that economic development and education, we have to work together. He was so passionate about what was happening, it made me stand up. He will fight for truth. He'll go down to the commissioner's office, he'll go down to City Hall, he'll get in people's faces. It makes people uncomfortable. It may not look the way some people think it should. However, it gets things done and it brings awareness of what's going on. You know, you look at gentrification and you're like, it's moving people, but it's really about money. All money ain't good money. So you're not gonna make me fight against my community. You're not gonna use me as a pawn in my community.
James has never shied away from challenging these systems of oppression that like to divide and conquer. He's been one to expose many in our community around being gatekeepers. He uses a term called the only one syndrome, where you are the one chosen Black person to represent the whole Black community. Those folks shoplift the process for their own selfish economic gains. And James has been able to expose those people, not in a disrespectful way, but in a way to say that this is not okay for our community. And if you're not willing to make sacrifices like many elders do, then you need to get out the way so that the next generation can be handed the baton to really carry that narrative and those outcomes that our Black community needs so desperately forward.
White supremacy says, I'm gonna lift you guys up. You guys have the voice now. You guys have the power, and don't listen to them, right? And it pits us against each other. It's an art of war, and it's important that we can come together not only across sectors, public and private, but generational. Some of us have been in this fight for 50 years, and all of these things have been done before. Unless we come to the table to listen to each other about those stories and about that history and how it was done, oh my goodness, we are destined to fail if we don't plan together. The system, it plays the long game. So while we want short gratification right now, they can wait you out 15, 20 years. I ain't gonna be here in 20 years. And I need to give you the information I have. I look at my community, buildings that are 7 stories high. But see, that happened 40 years ago when they changed the zoning laws. We gotta get better for all, not for one or two. And that's what I feel James is. He works for the collective.
You always see Black people represented as being at the bottom or as being animalistic. It's always been in me to try to represent something better than what people have tried to portray us as. Using the construction model, I wanted to demonstrate that Black people contribute to the fabric of this community. And lo and behold, that model has manifested itself into what you see in Raymore. The clincher is, it was not about me, Jeff, it was about community, about building something bigger than the both of us, a community where we can be respected. More importantly, we could respect ourselves. You know, when we did that interstate light rail, my dump trucks rolled in there. Every time I go down interstate right now, I get goose pimples knowing the work that we did on that project. And there's something about building, something about adding to rather than taking away. That goes for building institutions. Like I was a part of that Black Parent Initiative when it was about to fold, and that thing came back around because we didn't want to lose that institution. Things that would empower Black people is what I'm about. And when they throw dirt on my face, they'll probably know that I was in there trying to kick the dirt away so I could build some more capacity for Black people. So I've had fun with this. This is kind of a spiritual thing for me, because I think this is what God would want me to do, to be an agent for change, for progress, to continue moving upward spiritually. Everything that God has created is beautiful. And Black people shouldn't see themselves as being anything less than beautiful. It's about changing the paradigm we've had to endure as Black people in America.